It's turning. All right. It says we are live.
You're live.
So I know there's a little bit of a delay, so it'll be a second before it shows up on Facebook and everything. We are streaming on Facebook and on YouTube right now, which is pretty exciting. So I'm going to go ahead and share it on mine. Okay, it looks like we are up. So that is awesome. Okay. Oops, sorry. Okay, getting that. Anybody who knows this, I always have that moment where I'm like, me, gotta make it work. Okay. Okay. There we go. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hello, everybody. It is Thursday night, and that means it is time for a Mom on a Mission. And I am so excited. My name is Jessie Wild from Wild Jessie Consulting, and I started a Mom on a Mission a while back so that I could find amazing, awesome, and empowered moms to share amazing information with us and ask questions that real moms have. If you're on here, go ahead and do hashtag live for the live, hashtag replay if you're catching the replay, and we will, please feel free to interact, and we will go in and answer your stuff through too. I've got Heidi with me tonight. I'm super excited to have her on. We're going to be talking about foster care, and she has a lot of amazing information. We're going to be learning more about her and everything. She's actually got some books that she found that we're going to be doing a giveaway for. And then I'm also going to be doing a giveaway for a $25 Amazon gift card. So make sure to read the description or stick out to the end to figure out how to get those. But as we always start our Thursday nights, we're going to start with positives. So Heidi, go ahead and do your positives. What was a positive thing today?
Well, chatting with you earlier was very positive, and being on here right now is great. That's very positive. And I got in my pool for a swim, so that was good. And I got out for a walk, so it was a good day.
Ooh. It's very nice where we are today. It's like a beautiful sky. Is it nice where you are?
Nice. After many, many days of sudsing rain. Yes, we've got a nice blue sky, nice breeze. It's beautiful out.
Awesome. And if you have a positive, go ahead and share them in the chat. We always like to share everybody's positives because it's always another thing and an awesome thing to celebrate. Hello, everybody. Hello. My positive today is it is my youngest daughter's 7th birthday today, and she wanted chickens. She wanted a chicken, and we ended up getting 2. So now we have 4 chickens total. So, which is totally okay with me. And anyone who knows me knows that I am chicken obsessed. Like everything I have chickens all over my office. I have chickens on my mugs. It's a sickness, honestly. But so getting a chicken for me was amazing. And we got a black and red one. The black one is Geary and the red one is Jimmy. So yeah, she's very creative. So again, if you're here, go ahead and put them in, and we would love to hear what you have going on. Melissa says she got out of the house. It was so nice today. So like Heidi, she got out, which is great. I'm so excited. All right, so I'm super excited to have you on. I've had quite a few moms that have talked about this subject. We're talking about foster care today, and why don't you tell us a little bit about you, just a little like kind of summary.
Oh, okay. Where to start? Well, my name is obvious. It's there. Let's see. I have been a foster mom for about 23, 24 years, I guess. 20, yeah, somewhere around there. With my husband. What else can I tell you? I'm the district commissioner of and Spark Guider for Girl Guides of Canada, same as Girl Scouts. Yay!
That's right. You are from?
I'm from Quebec.
All right.
Near Montreal. Yes, very near Montreal. You take a little bridge over a little river, and I'm on my own little island. No, not quite my own, but. So yeah, just near Montreal. So far everybody's healthy. This is good.
Good.
Given our times. yeah, that's about it, I guess.
Good. So, I know we were talking about like like I said, I've had a lot of people asking me about foster care and everything like that. And our friend put us together. Another Jeanette. She's got some amazing finds. She's like awesome. And she was saying, you know, you just have been awesome about this. And she had nothing but wonderful things to say about you. And she goes, "You're gonna love her." And I knew I was gonna as soon as she said that. And I, you know, so what do you, or sorry, how many children have you gone through or helped out? You said you fostered for about 24 years now. So that's quite a few children, right?
It has been, I have to write down all the names to have a good count, but it's just a little over 30.
Awesome.
30,
What's the youngest?
9 months.
Oh,
yeah. We had a little boy come in at 9 months, and actually he's still part of our lives. So, and he's in 20 now. So yeah.
What's the oldest?
Probably, I think we had one that was 14 going on 15 or just turned 15. So
okay.
Yeah.
And you said so you're still fostering right now too, right? So you've been for a while now and you still are continuing to right now, right?
Yeah. We have one boy at the moment who is 16 and a half. And he will be with us till he turns 18. And then we don't know exactly.
So are you going to continue? Do you have like an end in sight, or just as long as you're needed and have the space?
Well, I think that may be my retirement kid. I think he might be. We're getting in an age where running around after littler ones or taking care of babies it's not exactly on the bucket list, but once you're a foster parent, you're always a foster parent. So if something came up and we were really needed, we would certainly jump in.
You couldn't say no, I gather. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So, how did you get started? I know we talked a little bit about it, but I'd love them to hear like how you got started in all this.
Yeah, so it was just something I always thought I wanted to do, was do something to take care of people. I had hoped at college level to do a course that would have allowed me to either work in group homes, work in homes with special needs, work in seniors' homes, but I sort of got talked out of it. And so life took a different route for, I guess about 12 years. And then I met my husband, and as things were progressing and it was becoming more serious, I said, well, here's this thing that I really have always wanted to do. And how do you feel about it? He was completely on board. So we lived in a really nice big flat for our first, just like it was a great big brick house split in two for our first year that we were married. So there wasn't room there, but we bought our house. About a year after we were married, we bought our house, and it had lots of room, and just the two of us rattling around in it. So we said, well, let's get started with the paperwork and see where it goes. And a year and a half-ish after we'd moved into the house, we had the at-home interview and the house inspection and the whole business. And then the lady that met with us said, well, I like everything I see. Your paperwork all is good. Everything else. How soon can you take somebody? And we said, well, whatever. Maybe get a few more beds.
Yeah.
And he said, well, I have 2 girls that need to come now.
Right now.
So we ran around, got some, because we had furniture from a 2-bedroom apartment, a flat sort of thing. So we had 3 other bedrooms that we needed to fill. So we ran around getting some secondhand furniture to start with, and within a few days, welcome 2 sisters.
Oh.
And they were the beginning.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, so I have to ask then, were you like scared, terrified, excited?
Excited.
Yeah.
probably a little terrified.
I bet. So like for preparation for that, because I know that's one of the things that I kind of, was asked too, is I think people think that you have to have like everything and everything has to be perfect for foster care. I've heard people that are like, I'm very interested, or I really would like to help kids, but I wouldn't be qualified, or I wouldn't be I wouldn't be able to do it, or what, so.
No, everything. I mean, as I say, we had our bedroom furniture. We had very little else, but and secondhand was fine. We didn't have to start furnishing these other 3 bedrooms with brand new furniture. As long as it was safe and clean and solid, that was all they cared about. I mean, if you think you can do it, you probably can. If it's really in somebody's mind that this is a path they'd like to take, then it probably means they should, because that's how it came to me. Was I just kept thinking, this is something I really, really want to do, and we've been doing it for quite a while now, and I have no regrets.
Yeah.
And it's not, you don't have to have a mansion, you don't have to have a palace. I mean, we have had, I guess at the most at one time, we've had 6 kids and bunk beds. It's not a problem for 2 boys to share a room or 2 girls to share a room. Mm-hmm. After a certain age, they don't want them to be in the same room.
Okay.
It's obvious, but I mean, the rooms we had the 2 sisters in one room. Later, their brother joined us, and he was in a room by himself for a while. And then we had another boy come in, so they shared. And then trying to remember who else came. Then we had an emergency come in, so he had the 3rd bedroom for a while. And then I don't remember who came after that, but we managed. Everybody had their own room. I mean, basically, you can put more than 1 kid in a room as long as it's a proper room. They can shut the door and have their privacy, and you've got everything they need, which is, bedding, towels, food, all the essentials. Some kids don't come with very many clothes, so we have to go out and get those, but there's a special allowance. At least, I don't know.
I believe there is here. Yeah.
So that if they come in with nothing, well, it may be out of pocket for a little while, but you go to Walmart, stuff's not expensive. And
thrift stores.
Yeah, thrift stores. We did. Yeah, we had, they don't mind if you go to places like that. It's not a big issue. If you've got to clothe a child with basically nothing, then you go where you go and get them started and go from there. So, yeah.
And so you ended up adopting 2 girls?
Yes, sisters.
Okay.
Not the first 2 who came to us.
Yeah. Well, so I have a question, because this is something I know a lot of parents ask, because I know I have 5 kids, and that's something my husband and I have seriously talked about. And one of the things we always get is, well, if you have your own kids, you should wait till they're all grown. And I'm thinking, I just had one in my 30s. I'm going to be in my 50s by the time he's grown. I don't know that I'll have the energy to start it up then.
Yeah.
Kind of like to get my foot in the door a little earlier than that. But what do you say to people who are like, oh, if you have other kids, it won't work?
Actually, other kids are, when we started, we had no kids. Yeah. So it was a clean slate. It was start. But once we had the girls and we'd adopted the girls, and, then they got used to other kids coming and going. And it wasn't an issue. They were little sisters to bigger kids, and they were big sisters to littler kids, and it just always worked. And I guess because most of the kids that we've had, well, all the kids that we've had have come in with the idea that they would be reintegrated with someone, a parent, a grandparent, somebody. So we've only had 2 who stayed to the age of majority.
Okay.
And which in Quebec is 18.
Okay. Yeah, here too.
So I think that the girls, knowing that they would always be with us, we were their parents, made it okay to welcome other kids in, because they weren't really, they were taking our time and some of our attention and everything else, but our girls had the knowledge of and security of, this is mom and dad, this is our place, no matter who comes to visit.
Yeah.
Mom and dad are going to be here, we're going to be here. It's always, it's always home. So they were maybe because they were also came in as young foster kids, but they were pretty young when they came too. So they were always okay with other kids coming. And the same with the little guy who came to us at 9 months old, who's only just moved out permanently, I think.
Yeah.
I never know, but
yeah.
And he was the same with other kids coming and going. He was, and we were not able to adopt him. It was our plan, but that didn't work out. But he's always refers to us as mom and dad, and that's where he's lived. He's 20, and yeah. So no, there's no reason why people shouldn't if they have their own kids. It actually, I think, makes it a whole lot easier. You already know what to do.
Yeah. Right? You already know those. So is there an easiest or hardest age, do you think? Because I have those with parenthood. I mean, I have 5 kids, and I can tell you the ages that I think that are like the easiest or the hardest. Is it based on each kid, or is it easier, like, is it easier with the older kids or easier with the baby? She says, no way.
Yeah, the older you have them come in, the harder it probably is, because they've just had so much more happen.
Yeah, more life.
more damage in a way. I'm not referring to the children as damage, but damage that's been done to them.
More trauma and
and
everything too. Okay. Did you have to do any special trainings or anything like that, or were you inclined to do it once you got in? Were you like, I'm in over my head at any point, where you wanted to get more under your belt? Because I mean, I do that as a mom. I just do that all the time. I'm constantly learning, constantly meeting people, and like on this show where I'm trying to get more information from them and get those answers.
Well, trainings are always offered. Now, we haven't taken so many in the last few years, just because, we've just life has happened that we have just one foster now, and we're sort of at the point where, like, okay, that's enough for the moment. And, we're not really wanting to fill the house back up again. So we've taken less and less, but certainly when we first started, and it wasn't as easy as this, it meant giving up days and going and, arranging babysitting and everything else. We were talking tonight about when we moved into this house and had our interview to restart, because we had 2 years where we were living in on the south shore of Montreal. But we were just in a small, again, apartment type thing with 2 bedrooms, and we had our girls. So it was like, and we knew it was a limited time because this was for my husband's work. So we knew we were only there for 2 years. So when we moved out here and bought our house again, we said, okay, well, so we'll get started again. But it was a different centre jeunesse, a different area. So we had to do the paperwork again and be interviewed. And that was fine, but it was kind of exactly like the first interview. Hi, nice to meet you. Place is fine. Everything's approved. How soon can you take a kid? And this poor little guy came a week exactly after we moved. We had not even all of our furniture here. Some was in storage. There's a long exterior wall next to me that was piled high with boxes of I don't even know what, probably dishes that hadn't gotten unpacked. We didn't have, we didn't have furniture in all of the rooms. It was like the first time all over again. So, but yes, we certainly took a lot of courses, not as many when we were in the townships. They weren't offered as much, but certainly once we got out here, then there were more trainings and courses and things to take. Especially if we felt it pertained to one child in particular or a couple of children. We had one young fellow who actually we still have contact with him. He's in his 20s now. Oh my goodness. And well into his 20s now. Yeah, he had really severe attachment disorder. And we went and took a course on that. It was 3 Mondays from, I don't know what time, just early morning until 3 or 3:30 in the afternoon on the South Shore of Montreal. So it meant going across the city, taking one of the bridges but yeah, anytime that we've been able to do courses, we've taken them. Just, you don't have to, but they're really helpful.
Yeah. We have one here. And I do I volunteer with my volunteering. I like working with at-risk teens, and I also with some of the coaching that I do, I end up working with parents and then teens as well. And I started a course through Health West, which is our local place, and it was really cool because they started a Zoom meeting, and it was raising kids who've been through trauma. And absolutely 100%, I have cried. I have cried in it, like the videos, because they do some real stories. It's if you have a heart, it's going to get jerked. And, in our case, they were Zoom meetings. So we had 2 people out of the country and several people out of state, and then people in our own hometown that were all in on it, which was great because you got all these different perspectives. There's people there just for educational purposes. There's second generation parents, which is a big thing. And then there were some foster care parents in there, and it was amazing. So I know there's resources out there for training and stuff for parents, which is awesome.
I guess the thing that's nice for us is that they're not obligatory. Yeah. You don't have your social worker calling you saying, okay, you have to go and take this training, and trying to find the time and everything else and figure it out. There's always a lot offered. And if you want to take it, it works out nicely. And you take what pertains to what you're dealing with at that point. So yeah, they're good.
So I got a few questions. I know we went over a couple of them, and I actually had some people send me some more too. So what's the easiest part of being a foster parent?
Oh, wow. That's a good question.
What's the easiest part? What's the easiest part? Because my part 2 is going to be what's the hardest.
That's easier to answer. The easiest part, I don't know, because I've never found it to be. I mean, yes, there's been hard parts, but easiest part. Gosh. Oh, I guess just having the kids arrive. It's pretty easy. They come in with no expectations. They haven't, I would say in every case, they're coming into something, I hope at least, that was better than what they were taken from or that they left. So the arrivals are always fairly easy. And especially if you have a big white dog, that was one of the things we were encouraged was, yes, get a pet, because it breaks that ice. If they're feeling shy, they're going to go to the pet. So arrivals are pretty easy.
Okay. So what's the hardest part?
departures.
Oh yeah, right. I knew that. I'm sure. And if you got like, because that's my biggest thing is it's like, and we were talking about that. That was your biggest thing. Is everybody was telling you that's going to be the hardest part.
It's hard. I can't say actually that it's the hardest part. The hardest part is dealing with or knowing how to help the kids deal with whatever they've been through. Because, you know, it's not a cookie cutter thing. It's kind of like there may be similarities, and there are, but each child, each youth coming in has their own baggage and their own way of coping, and sometimes getting through that shell, because they will come in with a very big shell.
Yeah.
Getting through that shell is a hard part. You know, you have to get them to trust, and you have to be able to get them to start to talk. And those are things that they're not used to doing. You know, especially the older ones. I would say the younger ones, it's probably not quite as difficult because they haven't had as much trauma. They haven't had as you know, as many years. So it's definitely harder with the older they are to do that, because they've just put up a shield.
Yeah.
So getting through that's tough. But yes, also having them leave is tough.
Aw. And I know I had asked you this because I wanted to give you a little bit of time to think of something, because I know it really stumped you. I always ask people too, I say, you know, if you were giving advice to you, or when you were going into this, if somebody could have told you something that would have been like extremely helpful, like what piece of advice would you have wanted, or do you give to other people that are considering foster care or going into it?
Yeah, that did take me a while. One of the things that we weren't told about, and when I went on this really excellent area for Muskegon, one of the things it says is willing to work with the child's birth parents, which can be really, really unpleasant. No, for the most part, I have to say we've been pretty lucky, maybe. I don't know, or it's just worked. I'm not really sure. But every now and again, you have to have a little bit of, you don't have to have, you frequently have some level of contact with the birth parents.
Yeah.
And it's not always easy. It's not always pretty, because they resent you.
Yeah.
As far as they're concerned, you took their kid, not social services or health and welfare or whatever it's called in whatever area you're in. But no, I mean, you know, you have their kids, and they don't want to see their kids thriving with someone else, which is normal.
Yeah.
But so, yeah, so that can be, that's something I wish we had known a little bit more about, was, you know, how to, because sometimes you can be in a meeting with the social workers and your social worker, the kid's social worker, the parent's social worker, the parent or parents, yourselves, the child, and it can go really, really nicely and be really great, and everybody's working together, or it can be a great big time bomb.
That sounds like a lot of cooks in the kitchen.
Too many cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah, well, and you were saying the other thing you were saying too was the visits with parents, because sometimes they get awarded, or the parents get awarded visitation with them.
Here, at least, they try to do that as often as they can, to keep some kind level of contact, because of course the aim is always to be able to work with the parents, help them out to get whatever they need, you know, the education they need. If it's a substance abuse problem, get them clean. If it's somebody, maybe, you know, mom's had the kids and suddenly there's a guy and he doesn't like the kids and he becomes physically abusive or whatever, then, you know, to get them past those points where they can have the kids back with them permanently.
Yeah.
So if they know at the beginning that that's a good possibility, then they set up some level of visit. Could be supervised visit, it could be a day visit, could be a weekend visit, and maybe longer in the holidays. We've seen all those levels, but often, because no matter how bad it is for a little kid, well, any age of kid, but it's harder with the littler ones, that's still their mom or their mom and dad or their dad or whoever. Yeah. And they're protective of them and they want to be with them, even if it hasn't been fun or good. And they often come back after visits feeling really torn, because it's like, okay, well, I'm back here where I know I'm safe and I'm secure and I'm going to get 3 meals a day and get tucked in at night and whatever. But I want to be with mom and dad. So it can be a good 48 hours of complete misery until they kind of level back out. And you roll with it like a roller coaster and go, okay, the ride's going to end in about 48 hours and then we'll all be good again.
Right. Well, and it's like if they're the fun parents, or they're like, they do things with them or things like that too, it's harder because it's like, you're the one that has to not be the fun parent, because sometimes like they overcompensate for that sometimes. Yeah. I feel. I think I was saying it's kind of the same thing with some co-parenting. I've done some coaching with co-parenting. I did a live on it, and I absolutely love the co-parenting relationship I have with my kids' dad and stepmom. But there are times where, there were times where it was like, they get to go and do fun things. And there's a little part of me that's like, oh, well, that's cool, and it's a little hard. But again, that's one of those things where you're like, you're there, you're the one that's like there with the sicknesses, and you're there with all the school stuff and everything like that. And I mean, like I said, my co-parenting relationship has been amazing, so we really do team up on a lot of stuff. But I have some parents come to me and they're just just overwhelmed, because they're like, they come back and they hate me because I can't do this with them and I can't do that with them. And it is like a reprogramming. Then you come back and they're like, I don't want to be here. Chores.
Exactly. We had it just made me think of a sort of awful funny story. When our girls were still they were foster children, and they had supervised visits. Now, those supervised visits were because they were at the Centre Jeunesse offices. They were watched. There was a social worker there, and the visits were taped.
Okay.
Because they were wanting. Now, the dad came to the visits, but he had no real custody of the girls. It was the mom, and they were wanting to have enough material data to be able to say, yes, those girls need to be adopted. They can't go home.
Yeah.
So there would be these supervised visits for, I don't know, I think mom got an hour, and I see Jeanette. Hi, Jeanette. Mom got an hour and dad got an hour, and they would come in with, and this was back when our dollar store was $1 and not when it started becoming up to $4 or $5, bags of junky toys and junk food. And this was their visit, was like, and mom and dad would not be there together. They would be there one after the other. So they would try to outdo each other. And we would get kids brought back. Let's see, the drive would have been a good 35, 40-minute drive from the office back to our house. And our youngest daughter had eaten a whole packet of Hubba Bubba gum, those great big square chunks. She had eaten it.
Yeah, I know those.
Had this lovely drive home and came in and was all excited to show us all her things, including the Hubba Bubba, which came up all over the kitchen floor.
Oh, no.
We were like, oh, to the social workers, please, can you, because they've got this drive home. They get car sick and they've eaten all this junk and they don't want to have their supper when they get back.
Yeah.
And we said, can you please ask the parents a little less junk food? Like, fine, buy them whatever junky toys, but stop putting like all this junk food in. And they said, well, we'd like to, but we really want them to keep messing up because we want the girls to be eligible for adoption. So
Yeah.
yes, so our lovely daughter,
Oh.
fun with her gum.
Well, I have a couple more questions too.
Okay.
And again, if you're live, do hashtag live. I see we had a couple of people join us, Jeanette and Michelle. Hi, girls. And if you're on the replay, go ahead and do hashtag replay. If you have questions, make sure to ask your own too. I have some that I had pre that we had talked about already a little bit, give you a heads up. And then I had some people that had asked me, that had sent me some that maybe couldn't make the live. They're going to be catching the replay later. So I want to make sure I asked for them. Another one, because I know you're talking about the parents. So for parents whose kids are in foster care, is there anything like advice or something that you'd like to, like for them, that you'd like to say? Because I mean, from a foster parent's perspective, I'm sure there's lots of times you'd like to maybe even shake people. But like, is there something that you'd like to let them know?
Well, really, your social worker who's assigned to you is there for you.
Yeah.
We have our own social worker, the kids have their own social workers, and the parent's social worker is there for them. And if they say, look, go take a parenting course, go, find an apartment that's not bug infested will help you, because it can be things, will help you know how to budget so that there's food in the fridge.
Yeah.
And like, just do it. The easiest way to get your kids back. I know, I shouldn't say it's the easiest way. It's not easy, because some parents getting to that point of saying, okay, I need some help and I need to go take a parenting course and I need some help to budget, to know how to pay my bills and feed my kids and everything else. It's not easy, but if you want your kids back, go ahead and do it. It's not the end of the world. It's not gonna kill them to do what's asked of them. And I've seen parents do it, and it's worked out beautifully. I've seen parents not do it and never get their kids back.
Yeah.
So,
well, and those are building blocks too. I mean, even just
yes.
there are people who already that struggle with stuff like that. I've taken budgeting courses. I've taken meal plan. When I was a young mom, I got my kids. I had my first one when I was 19 and I had no idea what I was doing. And I'm sure that's a very common thing too. Young moms, you have these kids that are raising kids and maybe they don't know what they're doing. And you need that moment where you need to figure it all out, maybe get some help to do that. And your kids are placed in the process. But I mean, I had a nurse that would come to my house and she would answer any questions I had about struggles that I was having as a young mother with a kid. And then she would teach me how to like meal plan and talk to me about nutrition and my nutrition and then his nutrition as he would get older. And it took a lot of humility to say that I needed the help. But I'll tell you what, it changed my life. And I think it made me a better mother. And I know it made me a better mother. And then it helped me to help other moms along the way too, because then obviously once I learned those things and got them down and my family was thriving and happy, you have those people that are like, how do you do it? And I'm like, I got help.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't just wake up with like a natural gene to be like, I know all the answers.
I mean, as we've already said, my husband and I went and took classes, whatever that we needed to do. And really that's, if your social worker says, these are the steps you need to take for us to think about your child going back home to you, it's a question of whether you want to motivate and suck it up and do it, because it's really the only way you're ever going to get your kids back if they're gone, is to just do what they ask. and they're not asking you to become a millionaire or, anything like that. It's just to have the decent basics of life.
Yep. Just a safe environment.
Yeah, exactly. Safe, healthy, as far as, being able to give the kids food and clothing, make sure they're in school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I did have another one. This was specifically asked by somebody that said maybe they're not embarrassed to foster or not interested in actually fostering themselves, but they're dedicated to the cause, or they have friends. Like I have friends that are foster parents, and I am constantly thinking like, how can I help them? Like, what are things that would be helpful to them without seeming like I'm intrusive or butting into their lives? But what is something that friends or family can do to help or support somebody who is like, taking on foster children?
Well, I mean, the biggest word right there is support.
Yeah.
Whether it be in something you do or just in your attitude of, let them know that it's a great thing that they're doing. And because I've come across, Kent and I have come across sort of, people going, oh, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Why are you taking care of other people's kids? You should be doing something else. Or now that we're getting sort of towards a retirement-ish age, what, how much longer are you going to do this for? Aren't you sick of it?
Yeah.
What? So that's the main thing for if you have, a friend or family that, who are fostering, is just support them. And that's all it needs to be, is to just say, wow, I think what you're doing is great. And, and if you want to offer other help, there are other ways. Sometimes these kids are going into a new school. And so, saying, hey, I'd like to volunteer to help these, because they may have missed a lot of school, and they may not have been stimulated, knowing things as simple as colors, ABCs, 1, 2, 3. So volunteering at a school. We have here volunteer drivers. And so when the kids have visits, it's set up with the volunteers, and they know, okay, I'm going to this address to pick up this child at this time, and then I will be taking that child to, and and they're volunteers. They do get paid mileage and gas, but they don't get paid anything for their time. And we don't have enough of those, frankly. So that, sometimes it's us that end up doing the driving, which is fine too. But they try not to have that, because then we have to go drop the kids at the parents, and depending on how that works, it's better to sometimes to have a neutral party. So so there's lots of ways to volunteer, and those are a couple of them, but mostly just support the people that are doing it, because it's a calling and it's a job.
I think it's selfless and amazing, by the way. Completely. I mean, it's not easy. It's just like, it's like the care of anything. You think of the responsibility of a puppy, and then multiply it by like 1,000, and there you go.
Yeah.
It takes a special sort of someone to be able to do that. So if you know somebody that is that kind and generous, like, yeah, support that.
I know from checking the website for Muskegon and checking our own Quebec, because I hadn't done that for a long time, that foster families are really, really, really in need. We're so short of, and I think that's, I think that's probably very North American.
Yeah.
I can't say globally, because I don't know how that works in other countries or anything else, but I would guess that most provinces and most states are finding the same thing. People just aren't doing it, and kids
think,
fall between the cracks then. And
do you think that has anything to do with like our current pandemic? Has that had an increase or a decrease in it?
I would guess, without, I haven't sort of those statistics thoroughly. I was just sort of checking normal. I would guess that yes, things are probably a little harder right now, and that there are kids who need to be somewhere else for a while.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, even for all of us who have a good relationship with our spouse or whoever, and our kids, and the four walls get tight after a while, no matter what, you know, you make it work. But I mean, we're restricted. And if you take that situation and add, I don't know, alcohol and drug abuse, short fuse, kids, you know, parents who aren't really kind of watching where the kids are and what they're doing. And yeah, it's a whole lot harder right now than, because everybody's kind of stuck together and maybe shouldn't be.
Yeah. Well, and I know that, you know, there's been statistics that things like home violence and things like that went up during that, and then alcoholism and stuff. So I'm sure that intensifies things. And again, maybe a child needs to be placed until a parent gets help.
Yeah.
You know, like some mental health support or something like that. And, you know, sometimes, unfortunately, sometimes parents or people feel that they need a break. And if you have an amazing foster family that's willing to take that on, that's, you know, that's something.
I mean, we've done that too, that we've done just respite.
Okay.
And it might just be for a short period of time. You know, it could be, we did it one time for a long weekend, because the little guy was a really busy little guy, and his mom had just had twins.
Oh man.
On her own with
Yeah.
kids. So she was trying to, you know, recover after childbirth of twins and take care of the twins. And this little guy was, I guess he was about 4, maybe 3 or 4. And he just didn't stop till he dropped. And so, and the grandparents weren't really of good enough health and you know, young enough to help much. They could help her a bit. So we were asked to do respite for this, for, I don't know, maybe I think it was a long weekend. It might have been a little longer, but just till mom kind of got settled and got a routine going, and then it was fine.
See, I've never heard that.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've heard of that. I think that's interesting. That really is, because I've never heard of that, like that respite care. I mean, I've heard of it, but I didn't think about it in the sense of children. And you know, like I can imagine like a parent, maybe like a single mom or single dad that's just going through everything, struggling. And then sometimes they need to be like, you know, they need to go to a safe place where they can get some mental health help or something like that. And maybe that would help that fear of people getting help too, of knowing there is such a thing as like respite care, to get some temporary help, knowing that your kids aren't going to be permanently taken away from you just because you're admitting that you need help.
Yeah, no, now, as I say, I don't know exactly how it would work for you, but you can do it here. And when we first filled in our paperwork, they ask you, you know, do you care if the child's male or female? Do you have an age bracket? Do you want to take care of kids with special needs? Do you want to do respite care? Do you want to do emergency? And so we had filled in for respite, and we've done it a couple of times, and at least twice, 3 times maybe.
Yeah.
And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, it was more than that, but it just gives, you know, if say during this pandemic, that mom, essential worker, she worked at Walmart and she still had to, no daycare, no school. What are you going to do with the kids if they're not old enough to safely be left at home, you know? So, and you don't have relatives around, or you don't have relatives that will help or whatever. You know, respite care can be just the thing until life sorts itself out a little bit more. And I mean, things are easier now than they were a month ago, but
Yeah.
you know.
That's amazing. That's awesome. I've not heard of that. So that's really cool. I'd be interested to see that. I'll have to see if I can find information on that for here. I did put some of the links to some of the things you were talking about in the comment box too. So hopefully as people are hearing this and seeing this, I think we're all just kind of like just really enjoying listening to all of this and listening to your stories and that, because it really is just, you know, it's just something that I think a lot of people take an interest in or are curious about, but maybe feel rude to ask, you know what I mean? Or they're scared to ask. So that's awesome. I have to ask, what is like the biggest myth of foster care, do you think? Like, what's the biggest myth of it?
Whoa. Another one of these questions where I have to think. Oh, biggest myth.
Or something like where you went in thinking, oh, like if for sure this is going to be a thing, for sure this is going to be a thing, or for sure this kids are going to be like this or do this, and then you proved yourself wrong, or maybe.
I think one thing that's and it's always bugged the daylights out of me is that foster homes are terrible places.
No.
You know, kind of like watching Little Orphan Annie, and because they're not.
Yeah.
The ones, you know, like anything else in the media or on you know, social forums, you frequently hear about the really sensational things, which are frequently not the good stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it's often the really and so that is a myth. You know, yes, there are foster families who shouldn't be doing it, and there are things that shouldn't, you know, that slip through the cracks, but it's not most foster families. Most foster families are in it because they want to help the kids. You know, it's the same as being a guide or scout leader or a Girl Scout leader or a Sunday school teacher or a baseball coach, or, you know, whatever. You're there for the kids. That's why you do this, because you love what you're doing and you love helping the kids.
Well, they say, you know, if you find what you love, you don't work a day in your life, right?
That's right. Yeah.
That's right. That's amazing. Well, I want to thank you for being such a good sport with all of this. I know I was really asked some tough ones, and I was trying to get some where I was you know, giving you a heads up on some of them, and then I had some come up last minute. So hopefully those requests that people come in and they're able to see those. So I want to thank you very, very much, and just thank you for everything that you have, you know, you've done as a foster care parent. I think that there isn't enough like praise and like the support that could be given, because it really is a selfless and amazing thing that you are doing. So thank you. And I'm sure every kid that you had stepped through your door and you've been able to help on their way would agree as well. So that's,
I hope so.
that's amazing. Now, you do, one of the resources we were talking about too is a book, and you had found one that was called Kids Need to Be Safe, a book for children in foster care. And I know that we were going to do a little contest for that, and we got a few copies of that book. So what we're going to do is, all you need to do to enter to win a copy of this book is like and tag a friend, which you'll be entered for each friend that you tag. And maybe you don't have a need for this book, but maybe you know somebody who really does or really could, or you know a child that could use this book too, because it is child friendly, right?
Sure. Or pass it on to a school if, you know. Yeah. Teachers can certainly enjoy these resources, because kids go to school. And
well, so, and then, or you can, when, that's a great idea too. I love giving books and things for the school and everything like that. I think that I always am trying to find things that I think they could help or that could help with them. So that's a great idea too. Or even some homes that are in the area, or maybe a foster care place in the area, or things too. So all you have to do is like and tag a friend or share this post, and please make sure you do it on public. I say it every week, and every week I always have a few where I can't see them and then I can't put them in, and then I feel so bad. Bob just went on.
Yeah. Hi, Bob.
Yeah, he said, great speaker, fantastic job on answering all the questions, putting a shining light on foster care. And it should be, like you said. I mean, my kid's favorite show is a series of unfortunate events.
Oh, yes.
And it's literally just about these kids going through the worst possible things you could imagine through foster care, and it's just sensationalized, and just the fear inside of parents and people. I think that it's helpful to get people like yourself out here where it's like, I mean, to know that there are kids that are in the care of people like yourself, it's just amazing. It's awesome.
Well, Bob and Joanne, you're both retired or retiring, so go ahead, start a second career.
Yeah. There you go. See, get this. Yeah. And then get the book. I was going to say too, if you always need support, there are groups, there are things. I did put resources. I'm going to put, my group in there, which is the Work Like a Mother group. And it's open to second generation parents, foster parents, anything like that, where if you need support and help, to go ahead and ask for real answers from real people going through that. And that's what I really love about this. It's a mom on a mission, real moms, real questions, real answers, because that's what I'm hoping to accomplish here, is just take the knowledge from you guys and spread it out there to the people who need it, or maybe are too scared to go and find it. I'm going to make sure that I put my email on here too, because if you ever need anything, please email me. I did also talk about the contest to win a $25 Amazon gift card. And I chose that specifically because when I had Jeanette on here, she said, some of the giveaways that you do aren't international. And I do a lot here locally and in Michigan and all over, but I had to make sure, since I had someone international, I was able to do something international. So I am doing a contest for a $25 Amazon gift card. And all you need to do is sign up for my email list, and it's literally 3 questions. It takes less than a minute. At least that's what SurveyMonkey said. So you check a box, check some things. It's not an intent to spam you. One of the things is like replays with some of the resources, so you don't have to go through all the comments to find them, but all the resources are there and available for you, and things like that. So if you go in there and you put in your email, then you will be entered for a $25 Amazon gift card. These contests are going until Sunday at 4. So that's kind of just usually my button up time. And I do apologize for last week. Hopefully everybody understands I am a working mom of 5 kids that is also doing her own things on top of it. Which also I am super excited to say there have been some big changes going on in my personal and professional life. So I'm going to have some big announcements coming up soon that I'm very excited for. Sorry to keep everybody in the dark right now, but finalizing some things. One of them too is I'm going to be starting another group that's not just mom specific, although I love my moms, but open to more people too as well. And I'm going to be doing those on Tuesday nights starting next week. So if you're interested in that, make sure to follow my stuff and keep a lookout. And we'll make sure to have that on there as well. So again, if you are on the live, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you for giving us your time and your likes, your hearts, your shares. If you're on the replay, thank you so much for choosing to come back to this and to watch this. And feel free to ask any questions or do anything. If you are somebody that is watching this and you aren't comfortable with posting your comments or posting your questions, please feel free to personal message myself. Or if you have a question for Heidi, let me know and I'll get it to her as well. It's all about creating a realistic support system for people who need it and getting that information to those people so they can make better choices and just, thrive, not just survive. Because it sounds easy, but it's not. So again, if you have any questions, just please contact us. I tell everyone at the end of every single one of these, just remember, when you are doing it all, you do not have to do it all alone. Okay. My name is Jessie. Again, thank you so much, Heidi, for joining me on A Mom on a Mission. And I just want to thank everyone again. So have a beautiful Thursday night. Enjoy it with your family. I'm going to be eating unicorn cake soon. So I am on my way to a beautiful and amazing night. So thank you so much, Heidi.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Thank you, guys. We're going to end up now.
Night.